Right. So I quite agree with the strategy which the Russians are employing here. It's a very deep-seated strategy to make a call to the world that we are trying to avoid collateral damage and safeguard human lives. And this is coming at the backdrop of the noise we heard also earlier this week, wherein there were charges being made against Russia by Ukraine and others that people are stuck in, habited areas and they're getting killed and all that. And the counter by the Russians was that, they're being held hostage in buildings and places by the Ukrainians to disallow any sort of a military action. So I think this in one way is going to, make no room for the Ukrainians now not to let go of our citizens, especially the Indian citizens we're trying to drive out from there, and also the other global citizens as well. So I think it's a good strategic move on that count. On the second count, I think it is very important that Russia, as one of the members of the Security Council, portrays the right way it has been trying to do so. I'm not speaking the Russian language, but I'm just saying the perspective which the Russians are trying to portray is that they want to, ensure peace and on their terms. Whereas the moot point remains that they're absolutely peaced off with the Ukrainian and the NATO, alliance which was to develop from last year onward. Coming to the military part, yes, certain pockets, the military has to make way for civilian evacuation. It does not mean that they have to come out of the combat zone. They can very well remain in the combat zone. The ceasefire, purposes, there will be no aerial bombardment, no shelling, there will be no firing. And under those circumstances, you can evacuate a lot of civilians from the war zone. So I'm quite sure Russia has been and done this before globally. The NATO understands what the Russians are doing. But I think from the Russian perspective, it's a very good strategic move to be able to, make a call for evacuation and safety of global citizens who are stuck in Ukraine today. So I think overall a good strategy. But it should be equally met with, some kind of a military assurance to ensure that their safety is there. Because I'm telling you how it works in a war zone. When the citizens start moving in buses and on foot and whatever, you may find the other side of the spectrum trying to create chaos and blame it on the Russians and vice versa. So the propaganda in a war zone works very effectively. And media is used as a tool to portray one side of the story from one perspective. And that is where, I'm very happy channels like yours at least get the perspectives, both perspectives down on the table for people to understand. So it's very important to understand how propaganda works in war zones. So all in all, I think it's a good strategic call. And I think we should play their part to make it happen now.
Well, yes, Colonel Dev, and of course, we will also have to wait and watch whether these humanitarian corridors are also being created, because both the Russians and the Ukrainians are preparing for the long haul of this kind of a war that is being carried out in Ukraine. I thank you, Colonel, for joining us here in the broadcast.